Hello! In today's video I am carving for myself a small little trophy. This might seem a bit strange, but or arrogant or something like that, but it's just I've changed the way I do things, the way I plan things out, and I've felt like I've retaken control of my life, where I've been more in control of myself than ever before. Mostly because I have a new system with a calendar and to plan my week. Just a good trick to prevent myself from procrastinating. It's in the past when I used calendars and stuff, I tended to write too much in a calendar, and it just became oppressive and impossible to do the goals. But the new way I use is I just do the smallest possible goal, just the start of a task, as the minimum I should have to do for that thing. And then if I keep doing it afterwards, then great. If I don't, then well, there's another time to do it. That way, at least I do something. And in general, once I've started doing something, it's very easy to do it until the end. And so yeah, I felt like I deserved a trophy, just for to commemorate how good I feel about myself recently. So yeah. So here you see me start the process. I've carved I started by carving the sides, in one direction, like I do for basically all of my carvings. One thing you may notice when looking at this video is that there's a lot less shown than usual. Basically, normally the way I edit things is I remove all of the parts where the knife isn't cutting, but I keep every knife cuts. For this video, I did things a little differently. Yes, I remove all of the times where I'm not cutting, but I also removed a lot of the redundant cuts. Like if the same type of cut is done 28 times, well, I will just show the first few. This saves a lot of time for me for editing, because I have to spend a lot less time editing. It's just a lot lessened workload. But it also means that each cut that I do show, I don't have to accelerate quite as much. Like most of my previous videos had been on a time 5 or time 6 time lapse, but this is just on a time 2 time lapse for basically the whole video. So though you see less cuts, you see more in detail how I did each cuts, which I think may be better in the I don't know. It feels better for me, not just because I'm saving time, but it feels like a higher quality video. It's not quite as flashing. And the reason I'm not explaining the way I'm doing the cuts here is just it feels like I've explained these types of cuts a lot in the past, so it feels a bit redundant. But I can explain them. Basically, the way I worked the trophy, how I made sure to cover everything, is basically I divided the shape, the curves, in different sections, and I removed these sections a few layers just to give myself some room. Then I'd do a few layers of a different section until it was flush with the first section, and so on and so forth until the whole thing was completed. The way I divided the section, it's not always the case, but I did the largest straight line area I could for the sides, then one of the curves, then the other curve. Now that may not be obvious because what was shown the moment I said that was whole all of the curves at once, but that was mostly the exception, not the rule. And here I spent some time trying to finish the corner of the base of the trophy here. The idea here was that with the gap at the end, I would not need to spend as much care trying not to break this bit when removing large sections of the straight line of the first section. This because then the knife end would end in the air and not with more wood that I could. It was mostly to prevent wood from catching and tearing at the end. I really wanted the corner to be well defined here. I say corner at the end. Everything has been rounded, but for this stage, it's a triangle. It's a peak. And once I've done a lot of layers, at some point, because of the geometry, it's mostly because at some point around the halfway mark, I have to switch the way I hold the knife and the block to carve. Mostly because the layer I need to remove ends up being too close to the surface of the table, and I start having difficulty maneuvering my hand in the right angles to remove the layers. So I have to switch the position. And once I'm at the very end, it's much more easy. It's much easier to just remove the whole section at once with with a different angle. Here, what I am doing is I'm making a wedge corner at the topmost sections of the curve. That way, I'm able to remove the inner portion of the curve more easily with basically one knife per movement. It becomes a lot more manageable that way with wedges cut in various places. And here I'm trying to do the same thing but with a wedge at the center. I'm just trying a different thing. And it's really hard to say which one worked better. Both have their advantages. The one where the wedge is in the middle feels longer because there's more steps. Like you have to cut the middle, then one side, then the other side. But I don't know. Both have their advantages. Both are good. And here I won't have much to say. Basically, I'm just doing the exact same thing on the other side. Slightly worse because it's a different angle, so it's not the same movement. So it's I kind of have to relearn it, but basically the same thing. I had to start by making a corner near the top of the cup up to the line to prevent me from going too far out of the line to protect the upper portion. I may not have had to protect it that much at this stage of the project because it's a section of the curve of the cup that's not going to be it'll have to be removed when everything is rounded off anyway, so I might have gotten away with being less precise at the very beginning, but live and learn. And here is the place where I really started doing the new philosophy on how to edit. It was the first one still had a little bit more, but yeah, I really went intense with the edit. Might be a bad idea. I feel like I don't have the needed time to explain the way I did things because it's moving a bit too fast. But we'll see. We'll see. It leaves me less places where I don't know what to say and it's silent. It's more like, of course, it feels like I'm saying nothing because It feels overwhelming compared to usual because I'm also explaining how I edited it, and not just how it's carved. But this side I did with a lot more sections. I realize the second one. The first one I did like 3 main sections, but here there's more smaller bits and bobs that were removed in seemingly random order. I don't like. I must have had a reasoning for the order in which I did things here, but I don't remember it right now. It feels excessive, the amount of sections I did, but it worked. So who's to say if it's excessive or not? Well, me, but it's not. It's hard to say. Both sides worked basically as well, though I think I do remember ending because the first side and the second side were not done in the same sessions, same stream sessions. So I think I remember being more tired at the end of the second section, at the second stream compared to the first one, and I do think I hadn't completed it as much as I did the first one, so it might have been that. Because I did it in more section, I had more individual times where I had to put force on a knife, like I had more repetition. So my hand was fatigued much earlier. That sounds about right. That's a good realization to have. Here I'm basically using a chisel to try to do the curve in one go. I'm just it's a rounded chisel and I'm just using it as a kind of a drill. Not really, but I'm just twisting it at the rounded edge. It didn't work particularly well. I ended up stopping after a few passes. And here we're in the third stream where I started rounding off the edges. Well, no, the way I planned this, I wanted to do one of the handles of the trophy right now on this session. So the way I planned this is I rounded the top and the bottom of the trophy first off a bit, no, not fully yet, but enough to have the shape going. Then I marked a rectangle. Well, we'll see later. A rectangle for the zone where the handle would be. Then it was just a matter of carving everything outside of that rectangle all the way to the rounded shape of the cup itself. I don't feel like I'm explaining myself well here. I'll re-explain it once it's there, and you'll much better understand it with visual aid. Yeah, I feel like it was a bit of word salad here. Word salad. To have everything meet the curve of the trophy, I had to figure out where that curve would end up. So I traced that to start the process. Then I carved the rectangle where the handle would be, and just everything outside of the rectangle. I went to have it meet the curve I traced to replicate the shape I had carved up to that point. This process was kind of stressful, um, because here, if the section where I'm carving, what I'm leaving for the handle broke, it would have not ruined, but would have been made the trophy much lesser, in my eyes at least. Like it would probably have been pretty good looking anyway. I could have switched project maybe or something. But so I kind of try to make small layers when I'm by the wood of the handle and make small thin slices and not put any force on the section of the handle itself. Like I would normally I use the knife as kind of a lever to remove chips, but here I try to specifically not do that and pull with my hands afterwards in some cases. And once the wood was mostly removed, I started carving the shape of the handle itself. Uh, I started by kind of rounding off the top and the bottom of the handles. Then I carved the thickness of the handle itself, and then I removed a bunch of chips with a knife. This was not an easy way to do it, and in fact a bad way to do it. So I quickly switched to a chisel, a rounded chisel that was much better suited to carve depth like that. Um, like every chip was pretty easy and well, felt easy compared to using the knife. And then I used I twisted the knife to really I cut all of that of the. I feel like I removed too much of the first handle. But basically, I twisted the rounded chisel to use it as kind of a drill. That's how I went through, and then referring to how I carved the first side, I tried to make the second side as smooth. Um, yeah, I really removed too much of that first section. That's a difficult balance. Usually, I feel like I leave a lot, way too much, but this time, this specific section here, I feel like I left way too little. Well, live and learn. I'll figure out the correct balance eventually, hopefully. And here we are in the fourth session of carving. And yeah, that's the last section, that the last stream I did carving this trophy. And the goal here was to finish it, obviously, that's what ended up happening. Starting with the second handle, where the process is much the same as the first handle. I try to make it vaguely symmetrical, but no, it's pretty good. Not perfect by any means, but it's not a achieved perfection trophy. That's a much improved trophy. Let's word it like that. To not spoil the. Well, no. I was going to say to not spoil the text on it, but it's most likely in the thumbnail, so that's not really a spoiler. But yeah. Here you saw me, I think, drill the hole through to be able to have a view of both sides in order to make them mostly equal. I had to carve from the handle to the middle and not through, because otherwise there'd be chips and little imperfections on the handles. Not that they are perfect anyway, but it would have been worse, and I think it would have increased the risk of them breaking. And once the handle was done, I tried to smooth out the edge. Like I worked in two directions, so most of the time, so it was kind of a square-ish trophy. It still is, but because of the current step you see, it's a lot smoother than it once was. And then I just carved a different angle for the trophy base. I felt it was I don't remember why I did that. Hmm. I don't know. I don't remember. And here I was trying on a whim to make the trophy into a cup, with an actual cup with a hollowed out top. I had the thought maybe I could use it as a key holder, but though it would have been possible the way I did it with a big rounded chisel that I kind of used to reverse sharpen the like a pencil sharpener, but on the other side, I think it would have worked, but it would have been way too long and way too tiring for something the trophy was not meant to do initially. Like it was really a whim. The plan here is to have it on a high shelf, so the fact that I messed around with the top and didn't finish it isn't a problem to me. It won't be visible ever, so that's fine. And then while the wood burner heated up, I rounded up the handles to make them a lot less square, and planned out where the text would go and what text it would be. The text here is best me there ever was. Why this text? Because it's kind of hopefully always going to be valid. Like I'm going to hopefully keep on improving, so it won't be a it's like a sign I have at home that say this is the oldest I've ever been. So that, like, every day that sign becomes still is true, because every day is me being older by one day than I ever was the rest of my life. So here the hope is to capture that same essence with best me there ever was. The hope that I keep on improving forever, as forever as there can be. And yeah, it feels like a really uplifting, hopeful, and fitting for my current mood trophy. So I'm really happy with how it turned out, no matter how imperfect it is. It's yeah, it's beautiful in my eyes. And yeah, with that, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to come by whenever you want. Bye.